to Eye on Horror, the official podcast of iHorror.com. This is episode 56, otherwise known as season 3, episode 20. I'm pretty sure those numbers are right, but whatever. Who's counting anymore? I am your host, James J. Edwards, and with me yet again, as always, is your other host, Jacob Davison. How you doing, Jacob?
Doing great, because since I'm on the East Coast, I didn't have to wake up early.
You actually scared me this morning. Jacob's usually like the last one to come in, but like he messaged us like an hour beforehand and was like, I'm ready. And it was like, it's like that gif of like Dwight from The Office getting scared by that blonde lady. I don't watch The Office, so, but like, I was just like, what the fuck? That was a weird thing to wake up to. I was happy, but weird.
It was like SpongeBob, I'm ready.
Yeah, we're recording this on the morning of December 6th, and we always record in the morning, but it's less of the morning to Jacob because he is in New England right now. Just out of curiosity, how was traveling? How was flying? How was your flight in the times of COVID?
Wasn't too bad. The other thing being that I flew well before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So it wasn't that bad. I had an entire row to myself, actually, and I was extra careful. I wore a KN95 mask and face shield the entire flight. I did not eat or drink that entire time, although I did sleep a good chunk of it. But yeah, no, I did all that. I quarantined. I got tested negative. So yeah, I was able to pull it off.
Cool. And this is probably the latest we've ever introduced him in the show because we got sidetracked. But also with us is your other host, John Correa. Correa, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Not traveling at all, which is great.
Me either.
I'm actually we're wrapping up on the show I've been working on the last few months, which is such a relief for me. Because on the show, I was one of the COVID coordinators on it. So I was in charge of PPE and enforcing rules and stuff like that. And a lot of the crew had a very good mindset about stuff. People were very, they adhered to things. If anyone stepped out of, they were very quick to realize like, oh shit, I just made a mistake. Like no one was like confrontational about it, but god damn it, that's so stressful, dude. It's so stressful. I am looking forward to a couple weeks off. Like I just organizing the testing, making sure everyone's doing everything right. There's so much weight with that because it's not just like, yes, we don't want anyone to get sick. That's like absolute worst case scenario. I don't want anyone to get sick, but also like if we just step out, if we don't stick within the guidelines, we can just get shut down. There's like so much little things that could go wrong that can cause like all these people to lose work, and that's a lot responsibility. I
was curious about California has pretty much the whole state's gone purple, so we're all kind of under a lockdown. Have any of your sets shut down, or is it because of people like you that you're still going?
Well, we are designated as essential workers at this point for this round, which if you're I've been working very closely with labs and testers and stuff like that, so I'm getting more insight on numbers and everything, and everything just makes me feel like it's a huge mistake. Like we shouldn't be filming, we shouldn't be working, we should be on total lockdown, but we are, and it's stressful. Yeah, no, they're still going. People are sticking with the protocols. It's weird because it's like usually this time of year is when things slow down just because of the holidays, and like most stuff is shot during the fall or the spring and summer. This is when like the industry generally slows down. So I'm hoping that filming slows down a little bit and that people are able to still get by. But yeah, dude, there's been a few, especially when they were like, oh yeah, we're putting in new restrictions and whatnot. It was a day or two before we shot on a Warner Brothers lot. So I was like, so is this shoot happening? Is this thing happening? And they're like, yeah, we're moving forward. I'm like, okay.
I think that there is going to be a slowdown in movie production just because there's such a bottleneck because everything has been, the releases are all getting pushed. But I think TV, you probably are cool.
I mean, it's kind of the same either way. It's just a matter of like how many. It's like a reduction of how many people are on set, how many people can be around, who's doing what. But also there's more roles. There's not just coordinators like myself doing the COVID stuff, but then we have people walking around enforcing it, things like that. And yeah, it's a lot. It was definitely very interesting being on, because I was on the Warner Brothers lot in the summer, and it was like a ghost town almost. Like, we were one of the few people there. And then to be there in the last week or so when it was not jam-packed, but it was busy, and I haven't seen it busy like that in a while, was very interesting. But everyone, they had tables spread apart, one person to a table, like everything was like as much as you possibly can do while it's still functioning. It was very interesting.
Speaking of Warner Brothers, before we get started into what we've seen, the big news this week, Warner Brothers is basically releasing their whole slate of 2021 movies to HBO Max.
Dude, we can do a whole episode on this.
Yeah, that's a big topic.
It's huge. I mean, on the one hand, I understand it because they want to get their investment back on these movies, and Warner owns HBO Max. That's, it's an easy outlet.
And that is their big new product that it's not doing the numbers that they want.
Well, why?
They need that push.
They don't have a Roku app.
Yeah.
Yeah, you heard me. Peacock has a Roku app now. Step up, HBO Max. But honestly, who wants to see Godzilla versus Kong on their TV? And that's one of the things that's coming to HBO Max. And Wonder Woman 1984, that's a big screen epic. Dude.
Hey, I'd rather see all of these movies at home than
safely,
in a disease-filled fucking theater with a bunch of motherfuckers coughing everywhere. Like that, and that's the thing is that, like, yes, don't get me wrong. Do I want to see King Kong versus Godzilla on the biggest possible screen possible with like the loudest sound system possible?
With the shaking seats?
I want it all. I want it spraying me in the face. I want that seat shaking. No, I got real nauseous during Pet Sematary when I did that. But
Pet Sematary is a weird. I think we discussed this. That's a weird movie to be like that. I saw King of the Monsters in 4DX, and it was awesome. Like the rain scenes, they're squirting rain at you.
Yeah, that sounds great.
That was great.
But that's the thing, though, is like, don't get me wrong. I want that, but I don't. It's not worth it. It's not worth going out there. I think I've made jokes online where it's like the only way they can get me into theaters right now is if they show Gremlins 2. But even then, I'm still not going to go. Like, it's just not worth health and safety. I do like that they're doing it at the same time as theater, so they're still doing it internationally. They're still doing it because there are areas in the world where they're doing all right enough that theaters are open and stuff. So you can still get that, and then also at the same time they can always re-release it later. It also makes sense because if you think about it, they had all these movies slated for 2021, right? But they also had a butt ton of tentpole movies slated for 2020. Now you're gonna have both years tentpole film. You're gonna have a blockbuster every fucking week. Like, there's no way to make money off that. There's no, because like usually there's shuffling where it might be like one or two competing, but like there's usually like no one's gonna put their big blockbuster movie when the Avengers movie comes out. They're gonna save it for a couple weeks later to try to take away from it, But you almost can't do that because it's so jam-packed this year. So it makes sense. It's like, yeah, let's try to keep people at home, try to keep people safe, but also drive people to sign up for our new service, which I know HBO Max isn't on Roku. That sucks. This is just why you should get a PlayStation. But it is... I
have a PlayStation 3. They're not on that either. So you need a 4 or above.
I mean, it's just, yeah, I get it. Is it gonna, I don't know what effect it's gonna have. We're gonna start seeing that in the future. Is it the greatest move ever? I don't know. But like, I can see a lot of positives with it. I can see a lot of negatives with it. We'll see how it plays out.
I think one thing they might be counting on is people seeing their movies on, like seeing Wonder Woman 1984 on HBO and saying, you know what, this would be awesome on a screen, and seeing it a second time. Because a lot of the tentpole movies like Godzilla versus Kong and Wonder Woman, people go to see them over and over anyway. So I think they might be counting on that initial screening at home, but then they'll, maybe chance a movie theater to see it if they, I mean, who doesn't want to see Godzilla versus Kong on a big screen, like the biggest screen ever? But I
don't know.
I've got a 65-inch TV, and then for my birthday, my wife got, because I couldn't go to movie theaters, she got me this 5.1 sound system for it.
Ooh.
So that's where Godzilla versus Kong is going to be for me if they get a Roku app. I mean, I have HBO, so I have HBO Max, but I don't want to watch it on a computer.
Can't you just hook up your computer to the TV?
Yeah, but then it looks like crap. It looks like it almost downgrades down to like SD, I've been doing that for awards screeners. When they send me a screener, I've been casting it to my TV. And the quality is really bad.
But it's only for a limited time too. Remember, like when all these things are only going to be on it for a few weeks. You know,
it's going to be 1 month.
Yeah, that's 3 or 4 weeks. That's a few.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. The way I see it, it's kind of a stopgap measure because I need to get these out. And who knows? Like the vaccine is on the way, and I've been watching some news reports with Fauci and talking about like things could return to somewhat normalcy by the summer, maybe even the spring. So maybe they could do that as be like, hey, you watch Kong versus Godzilla on HBO Max. Now that it's safe to go, watch it in the theater. Why not? So, so I could see that kind of marketing ploy coming through once, it's actually safe to reopen the theaters.
Yeah. They'll find some way to market it.
Yeah.
Like that, which is cool because I mean, on the one hand, I love that they're not hoarding these movies. I'm still pissed that people have seen A Quiet Place Part 2 and I'm not one of them because they did a handful of press screenings and then they shelved it because that's a movie you need to see in a theater with a community, like a full theater too.
Yeah.
Although don't get me wrong, if it showed up on VOD, I would totally watch it, but I would rather watch it in a theater.
Yeah.
So what have you guys been seeing? Anything been going on? Have you been to a drive-in since you've been gone?
No, there aren't really any drive-ins on the East Coast, so I have not. I've just been streaming stuff really. Although it's not horror, but it was pretty interesting. I watched Mank the other day, the new David Fincher movie.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was really good. It's about Mankiewicz, the writer for Citizen Kane, and it's about kind of the journey, or just everything that went into writing that and talking about his life, and it goes a lot into the golden age of Hollywood and what social and political issues were evident at the time. And yeah, I think it might be one of Gary Oldman's best performances ever. And what's really cool though is that it was shot in golden age of Hollywood style. Like it's black and white. It's got this kind of vintage sound to it and framing. It's kind of like Ed Wood was shot, the Tim Burton biopic. And it is kind of horror because Mankiewicz, and I didn't know this, he wrote The Wolfman. Cool. Yeah, so they do have a scene talking about that. That was pretty amusing. And I was into it so much, I actually rewatched Citizen Kane not long after, and it did make for an interesting double feature, but it also made me miss the theaters because I just know that if the theaters were open, then Mank would play with Citizen Kane at like the New Beverly or something. So
yeah, it's getting an awards push, which Netflix.
Oh, definitely.
It is, yeah, because the Academy has relaxed the eligibility requirements a bit. So yeah, Mank is getting an awards push, and it's on my list. I'm in 2 critics groups, and so I'm buried in awards screeners, and Mank is one that I've got to get to, but. Basically, everything I've been watching the last few weeks have been brand new stuff that I missed before. Let me just go through some bullet points of cool stuff that I have seen that's horror related, because I've seen tons of stuff that isn't. I finally got to Unhinged. Korea, you've seen Unhinged, haven't you?
I actually did watch Unhinged.
Yeah,
I still got to see it. I haven't watched it yet.
Unhinged is everything I love about trash cinema. It is actually terrifying. If you've ever had any kind of a road rage encounter, it is horrifying. But it is, Russell Crowe is having the time of his life in this role. And of course, it's full of bad decisions and improbable situations and stuff. But it's so trashy. I loved it.
I had a lot of fun with it. My number one complaint was just mainly because I can forgive loopholes and all that stuff. A lot of the stuff that I didn't like or found a little boring, because it was a little like it got a little slow at times, but it was so worth it just for how's this for courtesy honk, like just that bit alone was worth so much of that movie. My main complaint was just like the focus on him being unhinged and it being a mental health thing with like the pills and all that stuff. Like I wish they weren't like so lenient on that, because that's so lazy. It's so lazy. Like you could be doing such a good and they could have done such a good critique on just like, why is this guy like that? Oh, it's because his wife left him and he lost his job and he's just like, he's just like basically was promised the world and was all taken away from him. A movie I watched recently that did that really well was actually Arizona.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, the dark comedy with Danny McBride from
Yeah.
like, and it was like produced from like the people who did like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and like, Eastbound
also-
and Down and all that.
Yeah, and Seth Rogen, I think, produced it.
Yeah, Seth Rogen produced. He had a cameo in it.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Arizona was like a perfect example of that, where this guy's just promised like the American dream, but because it doesn't work out, he just kind of like loses it and just starts like fucking up a lot of stuff. But Unhinged had a lot of really fun moments, and I really dug like Russell Crowe just being just sweaty and just like that like under the skin anger that was coming from him a lot of times, but then like also never taking like he'd straight up murder someone and be like, no, this is your fault, you murdered this person. It's like, motherfucker, we just saw you do it.
There are so many holy shit moments in Unhinged. Like, I wanted to like rewind and be like, oh, did I see that right? Did that really happen?
We did.
It's not gonna, I don't think it's, although I'll put Russell Crowe up for Best Actor, but it's not going to win any awards.
No.
But it is, I had so much fun with it. It's just, it reminded me a lot of, remember that movie Breakdown with Kurt Russell and Kathleen Quinlan?
Yeah,
I
no,
still
I
gotta
actually
see that.
just bought that because it went 4K on Vudu and it was like $5. I was like, oh fuck yeah, dude.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
It's kind of a similar theme to Unhinged, but it's not. But it is different. It's more of a. There's more to it. We'll say.
I was thinking it was more like a B movie Falling Down, like because Falling Down had all those critiques that I wanted, of like, but not everything can be falling down, unfortunately. I wish every movie could be falling down, but it's not. I've actually been doing a retrospective because it's my birthday tomorrow.
Hey,
this episode comes out last week. So we've been doing a Kurt Russell, Penelope Spheres retrospective of their two works. I'm trying to watch their movies that I haven't seen before I go into my favorites. And one that I was honestly very pissed off at myself for not having seen sooner was The Boys Next Door by Penelope Spheres.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So good.
That was her second narrative after making Suburbia, and her third feature after Decline included in there. Oh my God, that was such an angry movie. It like
so
just,
intense.
Just how it kind of like just the protruding anger from the movie reminded me a lot of Ida Lupino's The Hitchhiker. Max Caulfield, I was funny because I did some reading up on it, and apparently because it's Max Caulfield and Charlie Sheen as these two kids who just graduated high school, and they go down to LA and they end up going on like a murder spree, and they do a really good job of escalation with that, starting off kind of small and whatnot. But I didn't realize this, but Max Caulfield was the star of Grease 2.
Oh, God.
That came out like 2 years prior, and that was supposed to be like his big thing. Like, you got a 3-picture deal with Paramount. It's a sequel to one of the highest grossing musicals of all time, and it was supposed to launch his career, and it didn't. He didn't work for those 2 years. So he had all this pent up anger and aggression with that, and he like unleashed it in the movie. And holy shit, like Charlie Sheen's pretty good in the movie, but Max Caulfield was terrifying in it. There's moments in it where you can just feel like, because he talks about it a lot, where he's just like, there's this thing inside of me, that I need to get out, or this thing that's trying to get out, and he's talking about the need and the want to murder, and you can see it manifest physically at times right before he does, and it's a really violent, very chilling story, but it's so well done and is such a great critique on masculinity.
The Boys Next Door has one of my favorite musical needle drops of all time. They the two main characters, they basically hustle a dude. They pick up a guy, go back to his apartment, and it's no big spoiler that they kill him. But as they're killing him, Tex and the Horseheads comes on. So like they're beating the shit out of this guy, and it's like, if you really love me, you just go away. And it's just the juxtaposition of that song with them killing this dude. It's one of my favorite uses of music in a movie ever.
But it also has one of the most what the fuck musical moments too, because early in the movie they sneak into like a graduation party, and it's all like the lame popular kids in school, but they're only playing Cramps the entire time. And I'm just sitting there just going, how can you have a lame party that's playing the Cramps? Like, why isn't everyone just suddenly rocking leather and high heels and just like getting into some sadomasochism, like as this like psychobilly music is playing. Like, what the fuck? What are these tools doing listening to the Cramps?
Because Penelope Spheris is cooler than that. She wasn't going to have them listen to anything that sucked.
I know, but those characters sucked, so it would have worked. And yeah, Penelope is awesome. She's honestly like my hero. So I love her. So yeah, and then we also watched Decline 1 and 2, which is always fun.
Have you gotten to Wayne's World yet?
I watched Wayne's World a week or two ago. I'm trying to, like, with her films, I'm trying to stay away from the comedies and just focus more on the
Boys Next Door.
Yeah. Stuff like that. I got Hollywood Vice Squad up next. Decline 3, that one's gonna that goes to dark places.
I think that it got darker than she wanted it to when she started making it, but she's like, oh well, this is where the story is. Right. So
But it's also really good because Decline 2 is a comedy.
But dude, Decline 2 is a total comedy. Like, the only thing is, I feel bad for Chris Holmes' mom, the guy from Wasp who's in the pool just drunk off his ass.
Dude, that was it.
And his mom
was so funny when it was starting, and then it just got more and more tragic.
Yeah,
and he just starts straight chugging vodka.
But all those idiots who think like, well, what are you gonna do if you don't make it? But I will. But what if you don't? But I will. Like all these.
Yeah, and I was talking about it with Lindsay because we're sitting there like I'm sitting there. I'm like, I hate these kids' egos. I hate how they all like think that they deserve this or they need it or whatever. And she's like, yeah, but like how is that any better than the nihilistic view of the punks in the first movie? Who weren't thinking about the future and were just thinking about the moment. And I was like, well, if you compare the bands between the two movies, who blew up more? It's the ones in the first one. It was all Black Flag and, Circle Jerks and the Germs, like, and X. Like, those guys blew up, like, after the movie came out. Like, Decline 2, a Megadeth blew up, and Odin did pretty good, but that was about it.
And speaking of Severn Films, I actually watched... and I also want to lead this into another documentary. I saw their documentary, Tales of the Uncanny, the documentary about anthologies.
That's my most anticipated release from their Black Friday sale. Yeah,
they were doing a stream on I think it was Cinemapolis, the Ithaca Film Festival online. So it was only $10, and I figured I was going to probably order the Blu-ray from them anyway, so I'd give it a watch. And yeah, oh my God, it's like the biggest deep dive into anthologies I've ever seen. And yeah, no, and it's just crazy all the people they got in there. Like they got bits with Roger Corman, Brian Yuzna, Heather Buckley, Rebecca McKendry. It just basically a who's who of horror, and it was just pretty fun to hear them shoot the shit on anthologies, especially because it all started as a special feature in their anthology they were releasing, the Theater Bazaar, and it just goes into just how big of a cornerstone anthologies have been, both in film and as far back as literature, where a lot of them were adapted. They talk about Lovecraft and Poe and all that.
Have you seen the Theater Bazaar?
To be honest, no. Although I did order it from the Black Friday sale. It's kind of hit and miss as an anthology. I mean, it like all of them are. That's anthologies.
Yeah. The most effective, to me at least, the most effective segment is called The Accident. And it is probably the least horror, but it is the one that I saw this movie probably 4 or 5 years ago, and it still kind of haunts me. I'm curious to see what you're going to think when you do see it. The Accident, it's one of the middle sections, and you'll know it when you see it. I mean,
gotcha.
It's called The Accident, and for a reason, but it's a pretty powerful segment. Honestly, it really is.
And it sounds like it.
I'm so excited for those Blu-rays because those were 2 Blu-ray sets where I was like, yeah, the movies sound really dope, but the special features and like the care that they put into it sound awesome. Like the documentary, they're including 2 like lesser known anthologies that have never been released.
3.
Three
from in the Black Friday version.
Even better.
I know,
so
right?
Excited. Yeah.
I mean, it's too good of it. I mean, you're basically getting 4 movies for the price of 1. I also saw the Castle Freak remake on Shudder that Justin Martell produced.
He's even in it. Did you see him?
He was in it. He was in a bar scene or something.
Yeah, he has. It was funny because that scene came up, and I was like, Justin. he's just in the background, but he does get a couple of shots like of just him. So it's pretty fun. What did you think of Castle Freak?
I thought it was interesting.
That's the word I would use too.
Very interesting.
I don't remember and it's been a long time since I've seen it. Did the original go as Lovecraftian?
Oh, no.
As this one? Okay. No, I didn't think so.
The original played out more like a period piece horror film.
Yeah.
But
it was much more grounded.
Very low budget.
Yeah, that's the thing. This one you could tell had a bigger budget, and they went full Lovecraft by the time it hits the end. Yeah.
That's awesome. I've heard a lot of fun things about that one, reviews and whatnot. I hear they also gender swap the freak.
Yep.
And they show a lot more of her in this one than they did in the original, right?
Yeah, and it's weird because for some of the time, it's hard to tell that she's gender swapped. I mean, she is because of other things they do, but it looks more anamorphous. But then it's clearly a female. They prove that to you later.
Yeah. Oh, that was memorable.
All right. And the effects must have been great because it was directed by Tate from Face Off, right?
Yeah.
It was really there was some like outrageous gore, like real memorable shit.
There's buckets of blood and it splatters and it looks like puppetry and
because it's more Lovecraft, there are tentacles.
Yeah.
You can't spell Lovecraft without tentacles. Or racism.
Oh god.
I'm gonna just kind of go through a few quick ones that I've been watching for awards consideration. I finally got to Possessor.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Possessor.
So
it was incredible. It was awesome. I mean, it's definitely not for the squeamish, but it's a front runner for best visual effects for me. It is, Brandon Cronenberg earns his dad's last name. It's pretty crazy.
It's phenomenal. And it works as such a great double feature with Existence.
Existence, yeah.
Existence, yeah. Oh,
how do you say it? Is it existence or existence?
Oh, God.
Phonetically, I think we're both right.
I don't know. Depends what part of existence. Remember, there's layers.
Another thing I saw was She Dies Tomorrow, which is Amy Seimetz. Is it Seimetz or Seimetz? No, I'm just going there. It's a real ethereal. It's a weird movie. It's not a straightforward narrative. It jumps around a lot. It's basically about a girl who she learns that she's going to die tomorrow, or thinks she's going to die tomorrow, and everyone she comes in contact with starts saying, "Oh, I'm going to die tomorrow." So it's like kind of this virus that catches where people think they're going to die tomorrow, and I don't want to spoil it and let you know if they all die tomorrow, but it's a pretty crazy. It's almost like it's one of those peaceful movies. It's not chaotic like Possessor or Castle Freak. It is more. It's more of just like it washes over you, but it's a pretty creepy little movie. And then I saw His House, which is on Netflix right now.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Which is it is. It's weird because you think it's a haunted house movie or like a almost like a home invasion kind of thing, but it gets more like zombie and voodoo. It's kind of hard to explain it without spoiling any of it, but it's about a refugee who comes to England and they give him a house to live in.
With his wife.
Yeah, him and his wife, and the house ain't right. It ain't right at all. And then another thing, just real quick, because it's not really horror, but it kind of is. I'm thinking of Ending Things. So either you guys see that also on Netflix?
No, not yet.
It's Charlie Kaufman.
Yeah,
it's a new Charlie Kaufman, and it's Jesse Plemons and Jessie Buckley, who we've talked about with Beast, and she's been in other things too. She's terrific in it. I'm thinking of Ending Things is one of those movies. As you're watching it, you're like, "What the fuck is going on with this movie?" And then by the time you get to the end of it, you're like, okay, I got to start this from the beginning and watch this again, because you really don't know what happens until you watch it a second time. And then you're like, okay, now I get it. But it's a lot of driving in a car and conversations. But then, and this is why Jessie Buckley's performance is so good, because her character will shift on a dime and she'll like start channeling like Pauline Kael, or, it just shifts. And when you watch it a second time, you realize you're like, okay, that's why all this is happening. It's really crazy. And it's not really horror, but it's really creepy. It's a Charlie Kaufman movie, but he out Charlie Kaufmans himself. I mean, it's a crazy movie, and it's on Netflix right now too. So, and also this one's for Korea and all the rest of the Aubrey Plaza fans. Black Bear. Have you seen it?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Happiest Season.
No.
Yeah, Happiest Season as well, but that's even less horror.
I still got to see those.
Black Bear is another one that it's hard to talk about it without spoiling it. But Aubrey Plaza she's leaps and bounds from Parks and Recreation in Black Bear, and I mean, honestly, Happiest Season as well. But Black Bear, you're like, is this the same girl? You know, from Parks and Rec? Yeah, Black Bear's awesome. Not really horror, but it is another one of those that gives you that weird feeling where you're like, this movie isn't right, and it's not. But it's really good.
Yeah, I've been seeing more advertisements for Black Bear, and I've been wanting to watch that one, so I'm pretty stoked about it.
And as an Aubrey Plaza fan, she shines in it. She
shines in everything.
It might be my favorite female performance of the year is Aubrey Plaza in Black Bear. My favorite male is Riz Ahmed in The Sound of Metal, but I'm talking about The Sound of Metal way too much, aren't I? I'm going to stop for a movie that's not a horror movie.
But I've heard so many good things about it. That's another one that's on the list.
So
after
good.
the retro.
So good. What else we got? Oh, I also saw Wolfwalkers, which I think Jacob.
Oh yeah,
mentioned.
I saw that at the drive-in.
Yeah, it's like an animated movie. It's not really horror, but it kind of is, because it's kind of not really werewolf, but kind of werewolf.
Is that the one that's going to Apple Plus?
It'll be on Apple Plus.
From the creators of Secret of the Cows.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that it is
cartoon. It was it's the same studio.
I know that it's my favorite animated movie of the year. It replaced Trolls World Tour because it's a more traditional animated movie. I don't know if they use computers or not with it, but it looks like the classic, animations that I grew up with. It looks like,
Cartoon Saloon. That's the name of the studio.
There you go. Okay. It looks like an actual, two-dimensional cartoon rather than, like a Pixar production. That's what I like about it. So
no, it's like a living mosaic.
Yeah, that studio always produces like such beautiful animation, and like they all have that similar style, but every single one of them, it's like you could take a shot from it and like hang it up because it just looks so beautiful. And yeah, that one looks awesome. It's one of the reasons why I'm contemplating keeping my Apple Plus after the trial ends.
Oh yeah, that's where it's going to be.
Well,
and it's got werewolves.
Yeah, kind of. But yeah,
sort of, yeah.
You should watch while you have Apple Plus if you haven't. Greyhound. If you want 90 minutes of chewing your fingernails to the bone, Greyhound.
That's the Tom Hanks dad movie, right? Where it's Navy ships battling.
He's like a destroyer who's escorting a convoy across the Atlantic, and there are German U-boats trying to sink him. It's
such a dad movie. I'm so excited.
But then color me dad, because it was just it. First of all, it jumps right into the action. There's very little fat in this movie, and it's a quick 90 minutes. I think it might be 95 minutes. But anyway, we're running long, and that's not a horror movie. No. So unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about that you've seen, let's move on to our topic.
To hear more about dad movies, tune into our other podcast, Eye on Dad Movies.
Eye on Dad Movies.
AKA Dad Bod.
We're
Dad Pod.
Dad Bod, the Dad Pod.
Dad Pod.
Dad Bod Pod. Oh, yes.
Trademark that.
Yeah, dude. Right off the bat. Hey, we're talking about Ford versus Ferrari and movies that go vroom vroom. These movies are so dad they call you a sport.
Wow.
Oh boy.
All right, let's move on. What we're gonna do, this is our penultimate episode of the season, which means there will be one more, and we're gonna talk about the cool things this year, the cool movies this year, because this one we're gonna kind of talk about the cool things. How were you describing it, Korea? Things we're thankful for, a few of our favorite things.
I just want to show some love. Just
raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens.
These are a few of my favorite things, Let's Oprah Winfrey this shit. This is my favorite things this year,
Let's segue into that by talking about the Severin and Vincent sales, because I know Severin and Vincent are definitely two of our collective favorite things.
Oh yeah.
So how'd the sales go for you guys?
I got robbed.
I know their website worked a little too well because you were able to actually buy stuff.
and I was a good boy. I did the pre-order flash where it was like, get everything. And then they went ahead and added more awesome. And it was just like, you fucks. No, I wasn't robbed because I'm going to get awesome stuff in the future. Yeah. But my wallet feels like it was. But yeah, no, it was awesome. Like they had such great titles. Their surprise titles were incredible. And like Justin on our previous episode said, like or suggested I focused more on some of their action titles this time. Some of the stuff that's under their VSA titles. So got myself LA Wars.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm so excited for that. Beastmaster. I keep seeing photos of it. And it looks like such beautiful packaging. I'm so excited.
Yeah. I did pretty well on Black Friday too, although I held myself back somewhat. I stuck to mainly, the kind of stuff John was talking about. Like, I got the big ones, of course. Like I'd already pre-ordered Beastmaster. And I love the action movies Vinegar Syndrome's been releasing. So of course I had to get Action USA and Martial Law, and which comes with Martial Law 2 Undercover. It's got David Carradine as like a kung fu mob boss. So I had to see that. Between that and Severin, like I said, Tales of the Uncanny. Although, for me, oddly, I think I'm pretty excited about is the Attic Expeditions. It's like this early 2000s horror movie with this crazy all-star cast. So, you got Seth Green, Jeffrey Combs, Ted Raimi, and also was Tim Heidecker's first movie. Oh, and nice. he's in the special features, which again, John Finn was saying like they've been going all out in the special features, and it shows. I
got Fade to Black, of course, with slipcover 1, the classic slipcover. I went with the classic, and also I added to it on Jacob's recommendation, actually both Pale Blood and the Severed Arm. So those are going to be fun. And then I actually went back for Don't Panic. At first, I didn't put it, but I added to order later because I remember, and I think it actually might have been you also, Jacob. This is something that they talked about on Shockwaves as like the Mexican Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I missed out on the screening of that at UCLA hosted by Rebecca McKendry, and I still got it. Okay, so
it reminded me of that, and I'm like, okay, so I went back for that. From Severin, I pretty much got catalog stuff that I think I might have pull quotes on the back cover of The Boys Next Door and Jack the Ripper, and then I went through. I fell victim to their $5 clearance sale stuff, so I came away with a bunch of stuff that's probably really bad, but it was only $5 for the Blu-ray, so I was good with it.
I actually because I normally don't buy DVDs, but I got a couple of DVDs from Severin. I got Stone, the 2-disc, because I've been waiting for that to come out on Blu-ray, and I've been holding out because I want Stone on Blu-ray. But I think I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy it because I know they're gonna announce a remaster after I buy it, so I'm just gonna get that train rolling. But I got that in an Ozploitation trailer compilation for like a couple bucks. Their super clearance stuff was like pretty awesome. But I have to know, was I the only one in the group that bought the Silent Madness 3D Viewmaster from Vinegar Syndrome?
Wait, you got that?
I'm surprised you got one. Didn't those sell out super quick?
Dude, yeah. I was there at 9:01 on the fucking dot, and I immediately went to Forgotten Giallo Volume 1, added to cart, and I saw that Viewmaster, and I went, holy fuck, I don't need that in my life, but I need that in my fucking life. I'm so excited. I even been scrounging eBay looking for cheap old Viewmaster slides to go with it.
Is it going to fit the old ones? Is it actually a TM Viewmaster?
It should, yeah. It looks it.
And they said in the description that it comes with a surprise or something.
Oh. Yeah, it looks like it comes with a bunch of slides from the movie Silent Madness. So then, of course, I also had to get that movie. If I'm like, if I'm gonna have a Viewmaster of it,
it did look fun.
I think it was included in the box. But yeah, it looks so much fun.
You'll have to keep us posted on what the surprise is that we heard.
Yeah, and in terms of special bits, I also did get that Demon Wind soundtrack on tape. Even though I don't have a tape player.
I knew you were. I was gonna message you about it, Jacob, and be like, Jacob, I feel like you need to get this. But then I was like, no, he probably already did. I was so close to getting the Blood Harvest one on cassette. But at that point, I was like, fuck, I just dropped $40 on a fucking Viewmaster. I can't.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Although the interesting thing is that on Vinegar Syndrome, it said it only came with a digital copy of the movie, which is still cool, but it's a ship-to-shore thing, Justin Martel's company. And I looked on his site, and it said that it came with a digital copy of the movie and the soundtrack. So I figure it probably does come with the digital soundtrack, too. They just probably forgot to add that into the Vinegar Syndrome website description.
Yeah, I would
really cool.
I would bet that you're right on that. I'll bet it does come with the digital download of the soundtrack too, because it's a ship to shore thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would trust that more.
And yeah, I mean, I got to get my digital track of Blood of the Lamb, which is like played over and over in the movie.
Speaking of ship to shore, since we're talking about things, our favorite things and things we're thankful for, I have to say I've dropped so much money at ship to shore since we've had Justin on. I just if even, I mean, the cool reissues they do, the MX-80 records they did, or, Martin Frankenhooker. I mean, they just do cool stuff and new stuff. Tigers Are Not Afraid. And they did the soundtrack to Swallow.
Yep. And I also doing a lot of video game soundtracks, and I got the Legend of the Mystical Ninja soundtrack from them a little bit ago. So that's back in LA. But yeah, no, like they're really diversifying.
Korea, what are your favorite things? Well, this is your idea.
I have always loved Middle of Beyond. And I just want to give an special shout out to them this year, because Lindsay and I got our first like decent sized tree. I've always had this small tree from Dollar Tree that we would put ornaments on and lights and stuff, but it's so small you just put on a couple keychains and it's set. But we actually got like a decent size, like I think it's a 6 foot fake tree with lights and stuff. So we wanted to get some good ornaments outside of dropping $50 at Dollar Tree for ornaments. And Middle of Beyond absolutely killed it this year, and I can't recommend people go to their site for ornaments as soon as possible because they're selling out like crazy. They have awesome Bigfoot glass ornaments, tree toppers of it. They have I had to get myself a Baphomet glass ornament. They had ones for Creep Show, including the Father's Day one, which was so tempting to get. Mm-hmm. They have one of the most awesome looking Cthulhu tree toppers. They have Evil Dead, Tales from the Crypt, Mike Myers, Halloween, Iron Maiden, Phantasm, Return of the Living Dead, RoboCop, like so many options. Like it's you could easily drop like $100-$200 just on fucking Christmas ornaments here. And not only that, but they also have sweaters, scarves, all this stuff for all these different types of things. I love Middle of Beyond. I love the quality of their stuff. My sister got me a Gremlin sweater for Christmas from there a couple of years ago. Or it's like a cardigan, actually, or cardigan sweater. I don't know, like one of those Cosby sweaters with the button ups. I don't know. Can we even say Cosby sweaters anymore? Is that even like cool? But anyways, I love Middle of Beyond so much. So yeah, I definitely want to show them some love because I own too much of their shit.
Yeah. I want to give a big shout out to Poltergeist and Paramours, an apparel website run by Ama Leah. And lately she's been doing nothing but horror themed face masks. Like I got a great Jaws mask from her that has been very popular in New England. And lately she's doing a lot of Christmas ones, including, like Black Christmas and Christmas Jason Voorhees and even just regular Christmas stuff. And also she sells a lot of clothes and stuff. And she's been donating a lot of masks to charities. So she definitely deserves a big shout out. And Cinematic Void, which aside from doing the awesome online screenings over the months during the pandemic and great screenings at the Cinematheque, has a pretty good lineup of clothes too. Especially they did a Giallo January shirt that should be coming out around late December, early January. Plus, they got some other fun stuff for Cinematic Void. So, like, those websites definitely deserve a shout out, and I would definitely recommend visiting them to listeners.
Hell yeah!
I am definitely this year thankful for IFC, and particularly IFC Midnight, because when all other studios were pushing their releases or not, just not making stuff, IFC consistently pumped out movies. And I mean, they've got, at least 3 spots in my top 10 this year already, including Sputnik is still my number 1.
Yeah, Sputnik.
It's not Sound of Metal.
I still got to
see
that. In my watch list.
Sound of Metal is my favorite non-horror movie, but Sputnik is my favorite movie.
Yeah, I need to see Sound of Music, but also Sputnik needs
Sound
to
of
be
Music
watched.
or Sound of Metal? Did I say Sound of Music?
Or fucking A. No, that was
I might have said
bad.
Sound of Music. It is kind of crazy.
Sound of Music, damn.
I might have said it too, but Sound of Metal is what I meant.
I can't believe I just said I would gotta see Sound of Music. Fuck me, dude. The hills are alive, I guess, and they have eyes.
Yeah.
No, Sputnik. I'm so excited for Sputnik. I'm not excited about their Blu-ray artwork though. I really wish they had used the posters that they had originally. But hey, that's still gonna be like a day 5 purchase. Like that first week, I'm gonna get it. It's that blew me away. But I need to get Possessor on 4K. That's gonna look so gorgeous on my TV. I want to give a shout out. I don't know if I'm stealing this from James, so I apologize. But you know what? One of the things that's been getting me through the pandemic is Sax Squash.
You could shout out to Sax Squatch, but yeah, I'm a fan too.
Yeah, dude. We definitely want to be pushing like not just places where we spend a lot of money and that we like and stuff, but like we also wanted to show like some people that like have helped us get through. And he's one of them, man. Like he just like comes out and does his thing, and it is beautiful. He's a majestic creature. I hope he never stops filling our hearts with love with his beautiful sax playing. Like to whoever gave him the technology, because we all know Sasquatches don't inherently know how to use computers and stuff. So whoever's helping him make these little videos, you are a godsend, and keep on playing, bud.
Well, it's funny because sometimes it'll just be him out in the woods playing like Who Can It Be Now or Careless Whisper. And other times he'll have his whole synth setup and drum machines going. And that's where I think he has a tech crew.
Also, we were talking about it earlier, but big shout out to Cavity Colors, particularly for their horror-themed jogger sweatpants for keeping us warm during this cold, cold winter.
Dude, I have honestly, since working, whenever I'm working from home, I wear my Trick or Treat Cavity Colored joggers every day. Like, I've washed them. Don't worry, guys. I have washed them. But for like the last month or 2, I've been wearing the same sweatpants every day, and it's Cavity Colored joggers. Yeah,
I love the Cavity Color jogger so much. I got the Every Day is Halloween one, but also they had like a limited edition Friday the 13th Part 4 set of joggers, so I had to get those too.
Oh, man. James, you got to get on this train, man. You got to
join the jogger club.
Everyone's wearing joggers right now, and you're the only one saying they're not wearing joggers.
I don't know. I think that my body is weird. My torso is long and my legs are short. So if I try to get into something like that, it's uncomfortable.
No, dude, it's the epitome of comfort. They even like are nice and tight around the ankles, just enough so it doesn't fall down when you go to take out the trash, you know?
And they have a height chart.
Yeah.
Is there like a little button flap for using the bathroom, or are they not onesies?
No,
are they onesies?
No, you gotta pull it down.
Oh, okay. Then I'll be fine. Okay, I thought I was picturing these as onesie pajamas.
No.
Okay,
come on.
Hey, I don't know. I don't know what the kids are into these days.
They're sweatpants. They're sweatpants.
Yeah, they're sweatpants.
I'm one of the co-creators of Dad Pod. I don't know what the kids
are. Don't forget
these kids.
Our upcoming episode of Dad Pod, we're going to be covering Gladiator and Braveheart, and why they're better to watch on TNT.
One thing that I am also thankful for, we talked about this in the podcast before, but I edited it out because I'm a little reluctant, but I'm going to be very vague about it. The Roku channel Cream On. It
Yes.
stands for creature monster. And the reason I'm going to be vague about it is because I don't want to upset anybody, but also I don't want it to go away. And some of the stuff on it may not be there legally. That's all I'm going to say. But it costs $1.99 a month. And I'm telling you, it is worth paying $1. You can't see what's on it until you pay the $1.99, but it's worth it. You will not be disappointed. There's some cool stuff there. Keep it on the DL, even though I just broadcasted it out to our hundreds of listeners.
Yeah.
Cream on Roku. And that's all I'm going to say about that because I don't want it to go away.
We talk about Vinegar Syndrome and Severin and Scream and all these and Criterion and all these kind of bigger boutique places or Blu-ray producers a lot. I want to give a special shout out to Second Sight Films. I own a few of their editions. They put out an awesome double disc for one of my favorite movies of last year, Anna and the Apocalypse. But their Dawn of the Dead 4K set is honestly the best home release of all time. This is a gorgeous set. The transfers are incredible. And the fact that they not only pack so many special features, but there's 2 books in there and 3 fucking CDs too. Like, that's insane. And they always put out awesome stuff. Their Flight of the Navigator set is really good. They did one for In Bruges that was just beautiful. They did one for Upgrade, also Lee Winnell's Upgrade. That's absolutely phenomenal. And they also put out these great releases for these kind of smaller stuff, like Revenge got this beautiful set, and they're doing one for the Nightingale that I, of course, already pre-ordered, even though it doesn't come out till February. I have that shit on lock because the artwork for it alone is beautiful. And you did some beautiful packaging for your release if you're going to get someone to watch that intense movie again, because that movie is just so it's a beautiful movie and so intense and so good, but like that movie made me cry. It was so violent.
Are you actually going to watch it again, or you just want to own it?
I'm going to watch it again, yeah, and I'm definitely going to go through the special features, like I especially if they have more stuff with Jennifer Kent talking. Like I want more of that. You're right. That's a tough watch. I don't know if I could watch it a second time, but it's everyone should see it once though. Have you seen the artwork that they made for this edition though?
I have not. No.
Oh, dude, I'll send you the picture. It's beautiful, man.
Cool.
I'm so excited.
We're running long, so let's. What else are our favorite things? What else have we been loving?
I would like to give a shout out to Letterboxd. It's just in the time of COVID, it's just good to have something to organize all the movies I've been watching, which by the way, I'm approaching 666 movies. So I'm trying to figure out what movie I should watch for that.
Evil Speak.
The Devils.
Good calls. And also like the Black Friday deal with Letterboxd was only $12 for their membership or like their pro program, so it was like $1 a month, and that way no ads. I get to look at my stats, is able to organize a bit more, so it was definitely worth it. And just movies are just one of the things that have been keeping me sane through this pandemic, so it's good to have a system like that.
And I like the diary because it helps when we do this. What have you been watching this week? Oh,
exactly. This week? I was actually looking through it before we came in.
Oh, I have been. If you look at my Letterboxd diary, you see all of the stuff I've been watching for awards screen, and I've got more to watch. Letterboxd. What else are our favorite things?
Quick shout out to HamiltonBook.com and ThriftBooks.com. Y'all have been keeping me well stocked with awesome movies and books at great prices. Again, HamiltonBook.com. They do awesome stuff, and also ThriftBook.com or ThriftBook or books. Either way, both sites are great. You can get used books and movies cheap. Love them.
I got one that are my favorite things. Actually, they're 2 things, but I'll use them at the same time. Other podcasts. I know I'm going to direct you to another podcast, but you probably already heard about one of them, Sword and Scale. If you like true crime, Sword and Scale, you probably already listened, but in case you don't. And the other one is called Let's Not Meet, and it is it's by a guy named Andrew Tate, and I know that because at the beginning of every episode he says, "My name is Andrew Tate, and this is Let's Not Meet." It's basically he reads like almost like Reddit stories. They're all true, though. At least they seem true. A lot of these ones that say these are all true and they were sent to me, they end up going off the rails and they don't sound true. All of Let's Not Meet sound like they could have true. And because of that, some of them are anticlimactic, but a lot of them are just really, really creepy. And they're just, they're kind of like creepypastas, but ones that sound real. So anyway, that's what you do. If you're here listening to our podcast, so go check out Let's Not Meet as soon as you're done.
And don't forget to check out Dad Bod Pod and watch our episode on Saving Private Ryan. Dad Bod Pod, the podcast that eats deli meat on the way home from the grocery store.
All right.
Because it's so dad.
Okay, cool. Then let's call this an episode. Our theme music was Restless Spirit, so go get into them. And our artwork was Chris Fisher, so go and look at his artwork. You can find us at the Eye on Horror Facebook page, the iHorror.com Facebook page, the Eye on Horror Twitter, the Eye on Horror Instagram, the Eye on Horror Pinterest, the Eye on Horror Hootsuite. I don't even know if there is such a thing as Hootsuite.
We also have
the Eye on Horror Grinder.
We also have a Club
Eye on Horror MySpace
account.
Do we have a MySpace? That would be kind of awesome.
Yeah. And shout out to our newest member of the Eye on Horror team, Lindsay Gant, who is our associate producer, who is also going to be managing our social medias as well. So it's no longer just me arguing with myself between my personal social medias and the Eye on Horror ones. There will still be a little bit of that, but not as much.
But now people aren't going to know that's what it is. They'll think it's you arguing with her.
Right. And it could. Dude, she called me out hard the other day. I tweeted about not seeing Air Force One, and she called me out hard. And it's like, wow, give you this platform, and you just use it to shit on me. Fantastic.
With great power comes great responsibility.
To just crap on me.
Okay, and once we start quoting Spider-Man, it's time to get the hell out. So,
it was Uncle Ben who said it? God.
what was the Batman one? He's not the hero we need, but the hero we deserve, or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought
something like that.
I thought the Batman quote was, "What's your superpower?" "I'm rich." No, I have a butler.
And then there's Iron Man, who's just, "I am Iron Man."
Which is cool.
All right, let's get out of here. So, we'll talk to you next time. Hopefully you found something cool something cool in our favorite things, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks. So for me, James J. Edwards.
I'm Jacob Davison.
I'm Jonathan Correa.
Keep your eye on horror.